It's over!
Welcome to Recap King. In this video, we will explain Super Me. This movie tells the story of a struggling screenwriter who discovers his lucrative ability to bring antiques from his dreams into the real world. But is there any consequence beyond his power? Let's find out in Super Me. Super Me tells the story of a man named Sang-Yu who is having trouble sleeping. Sang-Yu used to be an experienced scriptwriter, but his ability to write stories is slowly declining because he has had nightmares during the past 6 months that make him too afraid to close his eyes. In his dreams, Sang-Yu is always being chased by a large and scary black creature. His nightmare felt so real and made him feel very frustrated. One day, Sang-Yu's coworker, Senji, asked him to immediately finish the script project he was working on because he had already paid him in advance. But the script is not finished yet, and Sang-Yu is facing economic difficulties because the money from Senji has been spent on the treatment for his severe sleep disorder. All his money had been spent on all kinds of sleep treatment, but the nightmare kept coming back to haunt him. Even Sang-Yu could no longer pay the rent for the house until he was finally evicted. He always felt hungry because he didn't have money to buy enough food. One day, Sang-Yu, who was trying to write at a restaurant, was suddenly approached by a sinister black creature who always attacked him in dreamland. The creature tried to strangle him to death, but then he woke up and realized that it was just a nightmare because he had fallen asleep for a while. Sang-Yu, who was getting worse in despair and depression, finally chose the option of committing suicide by jumping from the roof of a tall building. However, his suicide attempt was thwarted by a street food seller. The food seller then approached and gave him food while advising him not to make a rash decision to end his life. Sang-Yu then told about his problems, including sleep disturbances and nightmares he often experienced. The old man then advised him to try to wake himself up when he was in dreamland. The old man said that he had to convince himself that he was dreaming, so that the scary black creature wouldn't be able to hurt him and he could wake up from his sleep soon. In the evening, Sang-Yu decides to sell his cell phone to buy some food at a mini-market. After that, he sat outside the mini-market while eating his food, but then the scary black creature reappeared. The creature attacked and stabbed him with its sword. Sang-Yu, who thought that he was asleep and dreaming, then remembered the old man's words. He convinced himself that he was only dreaming. He finally managed to wake up from his dream, and the scary figure disappeared. But the incident left an oddity. The creature's sword used to stab him did not disappear. Sang-Yu immediately took the sword away. Seeing that the shape is unique and antique, he intends to sell the sword to a flea market. The antique dealers there were mesmerized by the sword that he brought, but because they bargained at a low price, Sang-Yu did not sell the sword to them. Finally, Sang-Yu came to an antique shop that was quite classy and managed to sell the sword for 20,000 yuan. After earning enough money, he immediately filled his stomach with various delicious dishes that he had never eaten before. Not only that, he also bought some new clothes and a laptop, and rented a luxurious room at a 5-star hotel. Sang-Yu's appearance drastically after he shaved his mustache and beard. He looked even more handsome with his hair neatly arranged. He then thought of getting money again in the same way. Even he took sleeping pills to help him fall asleep quickly. Sang-Yu had another dream. This time he was at the hotel where he was staying. Unlike before, where he was always afraid when dreaming, he was now more prepared because he already had a goal. In his dream, he walked down the hotel corridor while sorting out some antique furniture in the hotel corridor that he could sell. However, before he had made his choice, the sinister black creature reappeared and attacked him with a large axe with a golden handle. When the axe hit his chest, he immediately tried to wake himself up again, ignoring the stinging pain that gripped his body. Not long after, he finally woke up in bed holding the big axe. Sang-Yu returned to selling the axe to the antique shop earlier and made more money. The shop owner and one of his employees were astonished that he had brought an antique they had never seen anywhere. Sang-Yu used all the money for spree and fun at a nightclub. He returned to his hotel room, heavily intoxicated. But before closing his eyes, he caught a glimpse of an article in a magazine about a museum displaying valuable antiques. Uniquely, when he finally fell asleep, he dreamed that he was in the museum. Sang-Yu then began to choose which antiques he would bring to the real world. But again, his action is blocked by a black creature who often haunts his dreams. The creature was carrying a machine gun and strafing him with bullets. Sang-Yu, whose situation was getting more desperate because the black creature almost killed him, finally couldn't help but wake up without bringing anything from the dreamland. However, he did not necessarily give up. He went back to sleep by taking sleeping pills. In his dream, he wakes up in the same museum, and after struggling to dodge the barrage of bullets fired by the black creature, he finally manages to bring 2 high-value antiques. Sang-Yu is now better at negotiating and has connections to buyers who dare to bargain for the antiques he brings at fantastic prices. A buyer had asked how he got the antiques. Obviously, Sang-Yu didn't tell the truth and chose to leave to avoid the question. One day, Sang-Yu accidentally runs into Sanji while standing on the side of the road. He immediately reacted to run away when he saw Sang-ji, but at that moment, he realized that he was not the poor Sang-yu like he used to be. Sang-yu then treats Sang-ji to lunch at a fancy restaurant. Sang-ji still doesn't believe in Sang-yu suddenly becoming rich. Sang-yu then gave 20,000 yuan in cash to Sang-ji to prove that he was no longer poor. After that, Sang-yu visited a cafe down the street owned by a woman named Huer. Sang-yu had long liked Huer, who was his old friend, but since he was just a poor scriptwriter in the past, he became insecure about approaching her. Now things had changed, and Sang-yu was finally able to chat with Huer without being awkward. Huer didn't even hesitate to reveal the predicament she was facing to Sang-yu. Huer said that the cafe was in danger of going bankrupt because fewer customers came every day. In the evening, Sang-yu told Sang-ji about the difficulties Huer was facing. Sang-ji then laughed because he thought that Sang-yu could get any woman he wanted with his current state. But Sang-yu seemed to be only interested in Huer. Sang-yu, who was heavily drunk, was then escorted to his hotel room by Sang-ji. When Sang-yu was completely asleep, Sang-ji secretly searched Sang-yu's hotel room, trying to find clues on how he had made money in such a short amount of time. Sang-ji was then startled by Sang-yu struggling in his sleep. He started to get scared by Sang-yu's very awkward sleeping attitude. Not long after, Sang-yu woke up with a handful of gold jewelry in his hands. Sang-ji, who saw this with his own eyes, thought that Sang-yu now has superpowers to steal valuables through the dreamland. The next day, Sang-yu, who managed to get a lot of money from hunting in the dreamland, immediately bought Huer's cafe. Because he doesn't understand the restaurant business, he leaves all the cafe management matters to Huer, and the profits will be divided equally according to the agreement. Sang-yu and Huer had dinner at a classy restaurant and had a pleasant time together in the evening. One day, Sang-yu returns to stealing through the dreamland, but now, Sang-ji serves as his assistant who will take care of him while he dreams. This time Sang-yu was aiming for the safe room in a bank filled with lots of cash. Sang-yu had already prepared 2 large bags that he would use to carry the money. The sinister black creature reappeared in his dream and attacked him, but now Sang-yu is more prepared and able to fight the black creature. Sang-yu's body wasn't even covered in serious injuries anymore, and he managed to wake up from his dream effortlessly. The next day, Sang-yu came to the Huer cafe, busy with so many customers. Unbeknownst to Huer, Sang-ji was distributing cash to people on the condition that they had to spend the money at Huer's cafe. It was Sang-yu's idea to get Huer back excited about running her business and feel happier. Not only that, Sang-yu also secretly slipped a bag containing quite a lot of money to the food-selling old man who had once helped and gave him food. Sang-yu continued his stealing through the dreamland. This time he stole a luxury sports car that he miraculously brought to the real world. He then uses the car for his daily needs, including taking Huer home after work at the cafe and asking her out on a date. Sang-yu and Huer's relationship is getting closer by the day. Sang-yu also took Huer's suggestion to write the script. Long story short, Sang-yu managed to become a famous writer and made Huer very proud of him. Even though he has become a successful and famous writer, Sang-yu still explores the dreamland and steals valuables. This time, he woke up in a huge cave filled with treasures. When Sang-yu was exploring the cave to find the treasure, he saw a mysterious man sitting still. The man was very pale-skinned, and when he tried to take the gold belt that the man was wearing, suddenly the man's hand moved and touched his chest. Sang-yu then left the cave by awakening himself from his sleep. After that incident, Sang-yu began to feel bored. He tells Sang-ji that he will soon retire from doing this because the treasure he has accumulated so far is quite a lot. Sang-ji instead told Sang-yu to raise more money to build a tall and majestic tower, which would later be used to accommodate poor people who had no place to live. Sang-yu just smiled broadly at Sang-ji's idea. One day, Sang-yu and Huer were on the roof of a building to enjoy a festive fireworks festival in the night sky. After that, Sang-yu drove Huer back to her house and stopped by for a bit. While waiting for Huer, who was in the toilet, suddenly a sword appeared out of nowhere and stabbed Sang-yu in the chest. The sword disappeared in an instant, but the wound on Sang-yu's chest was very real. Because of this, he rushed home without saying goodbye to Huer. Arriving at the hotel, Sang-ji then approached Sang-yu, who was looking indecisive. Sang-yu then tells about the incident that happened to him at Huer's house and thinks that it is revenge for all the thefts he has done through the dreamland. Sang-yu even thought back to the mysterious man who touched his chest in dreamland and assumed that everything that happened to him today was related to his past dream. When he was about to go to sleep, Sang-yu asked Sang-ji not to accompany him this time because he wouldn't be doing his thing. Sang-ji complied with Sang-yu's wishes and left him alone. In his dream this time, Sang-yu was on the roof of a skyscraper. There he saw someone standing with his back to him. When Sang-yu approached the person, how surprised he was when he found out that the person was himself who was slowly starting to crumble. Sang-yu then woke up and found that his whole body was covered with wounds. The next day, Sang-yu headed to Huer's cafe and suddenly got another invisible attack on his face. Not long after, someone attacked him from behind and took him away in a car. It turns out that the person who kidnapped Sang-yu was a gangster member led by a man named King. Kang got information about Sang-Yu from an employee who worked at the antique shop where he used to sell his stolen goods from the Dreamland. Sang-Yu then offered Kang $10 million to free himself and no longer bother him. The next day, Senji came to the designated place according to Sang-Yu's instructions. But instead, Senji was kidnapped by Kang's men and held captive with Sang-Yu. Sang-Yu also reveals to Kang that he is nearing his end, and when he dies, Kang can control all his property. Kang then took Sang-Yu and Senji to Sang-Yu's hotel room to prove his words. It turns out that Sang-Yu's hotel room is now like a very spacious and magnificent penthouse where there are lots of high-value treasures that he has collected through the Dreamland. At the same time, Huer visited the hotel and insisted on meeting with Sang-Yu. Through the intercom line at the reception desk, Sang-Yu told Huer to leave the hotel, but Huer insisted on seeing him, and when she arrived at this room, she was held captive by Kang's men. Huer tried to fight back when Kang's men tried to hurt her. Senji didn't waste the opportunity to break free and start attacking the rest of Kang's men. The fierce conflict was inevitable. Sang-Yu and Senji tried to fight Kang's men, who were more numerous and also armed, but they didn't give up. Even though their bodies were covered in wounds, they still tried to fight Kang and his men to escape. In the end, they managed to escape from Kang and his men. Even though Senji had to suffer a severe stab wound to his stomach, Sang-Yu, Huer and Senji also tried to save themselves from the pursuit of Kang and his men with the remaining strength. When he reached the stairs, Senji, who was no longer strong enough to run, finally sacrificed himself. With the remaining strength he had, he tried to restrain Kang and his men so that Sang-Yu and Huer could escape from there. Sang-Yu couldn't help but leave his friend. Senji finally died after being killed by Kang's men. When they managed to get to a safer place, Sang-Yu suddenly fell unconscious and had another dream. This time he was in a place filled with rocks. He then recalled all the events in his life, from when he was still suffering from poverty, to when he became suddenly rich. He realized that all the suffering at the end of his life is retribution for his greed. Sang-Yu was trying to wake up from his dream, but his efforts kept on failing until finally, he turned into a scary monster. He then got a machete that he immediately used to destroy the dividing wall between the dream and real worlds. The wall leads to Sang-Yu's hotel room, where Kang and his men still gather treasure. The Sang-Yu monster then attacked Kang and his gang and killed them all. When the monster was about to kill Sang-Yu, who was lying helpless on the floor, he tried to wake himself up by saying, "I'm dreaming," and immediately Sang-Yu woke up from his dream. All the things he had carried through the Dreamland instantly vanished without a trace. Sang-Yu seemed to be repeating the time before he got these objects from the Dreamland. Huer, knowing that Sang-Yu was having economic difficulties, then offered him a job to help her take care of the cafe. Slowly but surely, Sang-Yu's life gradually improved. Now Sang-Yu doesn't even have nightmares anymore and can resume his script projects and make some money. Senji also didn't die because time had repeated itself. One day, when Sang-Yu was typing his script at Huer's cafe, he saw an old man selling food. He approached the man, intending to greet him, but then, the food seller returned the bag containing the money that Sang-Yu had given him secretly. Sang-Yu was then surprised because the money should have also disappeared, as all the money and treasures he stole through Dreamland were destroyed. The food seller then told Sang-Yu that he had also experienced the same thing as him. The old man also showed the scars he got from the strange incident. After the food seller said that the world that Sang-Yu had believed was the reality slowly faded away and turned into a rocky location where he was trapped in his Dreamland. The film ends.